You gotta take a shit. Now's the time.
You run fast. 10 seconds. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, okay. Oh, damn, that's queued out fast. All right, here we go, guys. I was just waiting for the song to quit. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and dun, 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 you're live.
Good evening and welcome to Chasing Prophecy on the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, FM 107.7 New Orleans, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. Remember to like us on YouTube, Instagram, now on Twitch TV. I'm Jenny Nicasio, along with my co-host John Kelly, Jason Petro from Pittsburgh Paranormal Society. We're a part of a group of passionate paranormal investigators who are interested in hearing your unusual paranormal activity in your home or business. We have high-tech equipment that will pick up what the human eye can't see. Together with our team of professional paranormal investigators, Sean, Jason, and the rest of the team, we'll get together and decode their evidence that they find, and they'll put it on a flash drive or a CD for you. You can find Pittsburgh Paranormal on YouTube, Facebook, and ChasingProphecyRadio.com. Hey guys, happy Thursday!
Hey, happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday, Jenny.
Welcome back.
Happy Thursday.
Oh, glad to be here.
Yeah. Hey.
Me too.
It's a full moon, baby.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Don't you feel the energy?
It's cold outside.
Yep.
Yeah. And I cut
It's
my hair
freezing.
today because they say if you cut your hair on a full moon, it'll grow twice as fast. And I kind of chopped mine off a couple months ago, and I'm trying to let it grow back. But that's what the Indian folklore say. And I don't know. I think we'll find out. It feels longer. Jay Sean, do you know why
Yes.
they call it a wolf moon? Do you guys know, Jason? Do you know why they call it a wolf moon?
No, I haven't heard that one, to be honest with you.
No.
Please inform me.
Nope.
Sean, do you know why?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's because
No, I don't, honey.
I'm going to tell you. It's because the wolves were known to howl more in the winter months, and they call it during the winter, and they call it the wolf moon because they're more prone to howl, because they're more vocal, according to Indian folklore, in the wintertime. Did you know that? No,
I
now
didn't.
you do. Now you can go and tell everybody. I know why it's called a wolf moon. Okay.
Yeah, that's a new one for me.
Oh,
I'll
good.
just keep that in the back.
It's
burner.
pretty cool. Oh, well,
Yeah.
besides it being cold and snowing tonight, and I'm not really crazy. I hate winter. It's so dismal. Oh,
Yeah, it's all dark and gloomy out. The holidays are over. It's
I
like,
know. Do you guys suffer from those
Pain in
barometric?
the ass.
Pain in the ass. Do you guys suffer from those barometric shifts? I get headaches really bad every time the barometric drops, and it's
absolutely.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, you get more headaches, just feel more drained. You know, the sun's obviously barely out,
Yes,
so you're
it's
not
so
getting any vitamin
annoying,
D.
isn't it? Oh, it's so gross.
Oh, it's terrible. I
I'm
hate it.
counting the time for summer. I'm counting the days. Oh, it's spring. Please.
Yes.
We can make it
Yes.
over Valentine's Day, which is always a bummer. For me, it is anyway.
Why's that, Jenny?
I always
Why's
get
that?
screwed on Valentine's Day. No, last year was very nice. It was the former co-host, Bob Pagani. He was on here, and he called me out of the blue and asked me out for Valentine's Day last year, and I thought that was so cool. And it was because it's always, if you're
Yeah.
single or you break up with somebody, it's always a bummer. But hopefully, if we make it past Valentine's Day, then we know that spring is there, coming over the
Oh, yeah.
threshold. But did you guys watch
Absolutely.
anything cool on TV this weekend at all? Nothing?
Nah, actually, I've been doing a lot of reviewing
you're first.
of our investigation, so I haven't watched much television.
Okay, well, we're going to hold that to later in the show. But I've been binge watching again. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called Hunter. It's back in, it looks like the 1977. It follows a diverse land of Nazi hunters in 1977. Yeah, it's in New York, and it's really cool. And it goes on like a bloody quest to find these underground Nazis. But
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really cool. But you know what?
Sounds
When I was every time I binge watch or if I get locked into a series on either HBO, Amazon, Netflix, I do some research. And then when I was researching Nazi Germany with Hitler, I came across this really cool conspiracy. Now, let me hear if you guys have heard of it. There's a conspiracy that Hitler spent months in Antarctica. And there's a theory that he wasn't killed because he was a tyrant, evil Nazi miserable monster. He was killed. This is what they think. He was killed because he found out that the earth was flat and it wasn't a round ball.
no
like a globe.
way.
Yeah. So, and his plans was to overthrow the UN and create a new world order. That's probably where we're going now. And that the swastika, okay, the swastika, okay, it's really the Big Dipper. And it circles, once it circles the year once, it actually forms a swastika. Now, you can go research this. This is a conspiracy, okay? But what we're going to do tonight, we're going to dive right into it, the flat earth debate with our special guest, David. And I hope I'm saying his name right. I always screw up people's names. David Weiss. I hope I'm not screwing up. But before we get started, I want to thank my good friends at Audible. Like I said, winter's a perfect time to give it a try. And there's so many great paranormal books on audio now that you can download anytime you want, any leisure, anytime, anywhere, across all your devices. The app is free and it can be installed, like I said, in all your devices. And you can listen anytime you want and pick up where you left off. And if you can't decide what to listen to, don't worry. Credits last for a year. So like me, I binge watch books. I binge watch. I'm doing one called Save the Cat. It's on screenwriting. But if you go to our website, there's a link there. And I'll tell you what it is right now. It's http:// I think that's what that's called, www.audibletrial.com/chasingprophecyradio. Okay, so you can do that. But let's getting back to the show tonight. Our special guest is David Weiss. He's been featured on twice on Sam Tripoli's Tinfoil Hat, Alex Jones, InfoWars, Owen Benjamin, along with countless other shows. David, welcome to Chasing Prophecy.
Welcome,
Hey,
David.
thanks for having me.
Oh,
Hey, welcome, Dave.
yeah.
Can you believe it's 2021 and there's still people that believe we live on a spinning, wobbling ball flying through an infinite vacuum? I mean, it's crazy when you think about it.
Well, we have a couple skeptics here. One is I'm a little skeptic, and Jason is this little. I'm not sure about you, Sean, but
I'm definitely skeptic.
This is something that we really have to discuss. And David, what brought you to this conclusion that the Earth is flat?
Well, I was forced, kicking and screaming, to look into it. Nobody wakes up and says, "Hey, I want to be a flat earther." It's only when you're forced to look and you try to disprove flat Earth or prove the globe, then you realize that the flat Earth isn't what you thought it was, and you also realize you had no idea what the globe is supposed to be. And when you come out the other side, you're like, wow. All those proofs I had that I thought I had for the Earth being a ball they don't work. None of them work. Boats over the horizon, sunsets, seasons, day and night, all of them work on a flat Earth.
Okay, so Jason, I'll give it to you first.
I've been doing a lot of interviews, and I'm losing my voice a little bit. So if I'm talking slow, it's because
that's okay.
I'm about to die.
It's okay, no problem.
We're gonna hand it up, Mr. Skeptic Sean first. I mean,
Okay.
Dave. I'm sorry, Sean.
Here's the deal.
Jason.
What?
We can take
I'm
turns.
sorry.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Go ahead, Pap. You can
Damn.
start.
Okay. All right, Mr. Weiss. For 4 years, I was in the United States Navy.
Yeah.
And out of those 4 years, I spent 3 years and 6 months out at sea. Okay. And there's no way in Hades that I think that there is a flat Earth. It's impossible.
Well, how does
Impossible.
being in the Navy make you think that their Earth can't be flat?
And then I would have fell off, wouldn't I?
You would have fell off.
So let me address that.
Now, I'm not making fun of you, Dave. I
It's
respect
okay.
what you.
Listen, I made fun of flat earthers when they first came to me. I banned them from my social media for being so stupid. And so we have interviews with Navy weapons guys or whatever their position is, and they talk about being able to pinpoint another ship with a pencil-thin laser beam 100 miles away. Well, if the Earth was a sphere, there should be over a mile of a curvature in between them and the other boat. But they can see the boat and they could light it up with a laser beam. So that proves that the water is flat between those two boats. There should be over 6,600 feet of curvature, but there's none because they can see it. The problem is the way our eyes work, you can't see that far. Boats, just 10, 20 miles away will disappear because of their angular size. But when you zoom in with today's consumer optics that have outgrown their lives, you can bring those boats right back in. And these Navy gunnery guys, not only can see it, can light it up, but also submarines. Submarines can use sonar and see other subs over 100 miles away. Again, there would be a 6,000-foot hump of Earth in between them, and the sonar wouldn't work. Sonar and lasers prove the Earth is flat. So I sailed across. I windsurfed actually across the Atlantic Ocean. We had a mother ship with us, but man, it sure looks round when you think the Earth is round, because the way you see is you see the same distance in all directions. So you're seeing a flat circle, and your programming tells you that's a sphere, when in fact it's just the way your eyes work.
Now I can see a sphere more than I can see a round ball.
Well, a sphere and a round ball are the same thing.
Well, not necessarily. A sphere is more of a
Let me explain what the flat Earth isn't. The flat Earth isn't a pancake floating in space with other pancakes or other balls, and just happens to be flat. What the flat Earth is, think of what a puddle is. What is a puddle? A puddle is where water accumulates in the low spot in the land, right? And the edge of the puddle is just where the land is higher than the surface of the water. Now expand that to a pond, which is a bigger puddle. Expand that to a lake. And imagine a big lake, and there's islands in that lake. Those islands, we'll call them continents. The edge of the lake is not the edge of a pancake. It's the edge of a lake. It's where the land is higher than the water. Now think of all of the oceans of the world as a giant pond. And all of the continents are the islands within that pond. And in the very center of that pond is the North Pole, magnetic North Pole. So if you have a compass and you're on a boat, that needle always needs to point towards the center of the lake, to the magnetic pole. So east and west are circles around that pole. They're not straight lines because you have to keep turning. When you're going west, you have to turn to the right. When you're going east, you have to turn to the left to maintain your dead reckoning on that direction. South is every direction away from the center. And so if you go south in a straight line, you will hit the edge of the lake, not the edge of a pancake. And at the edge of that lake is the land that we call Antarctica. Antarctica is not an island or a continent at the bottom of a ball. Antarctica is the shoreline that surrounds the world. We live in the Antarctic basin. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth, right? When you get to Antarctica, the plateau is 200 feet over your head. We live in the Antarctic basin. We live in the low spot. Antarctica is possibly bigger than all of the oceans and all of the continents combined. And it goes on and on and on, and we don't know how far it goes because it's off limits to everybody until the year 2041. Yeah. They'll kick it down the road for another 80 years.
I read that.
I'll be dead.
I read that. Why is it that the UN had made the treaty that you can't go to 2044?
2041.
41.
So the two reasons. One, we must protect the penguins and the ice, right? Environmentalism reasons before environmentalism was even a word, but we can deforest the Amazon. That's fine. Or also they said because of military reasons, that other countries could sneak across Antarctica and attack us, right? Both of those are garbage reasons, not true. And the real reason is because if you go to Antarctica and you head outwards, out south, you will find that we don't live on a ball. You'll either come across a dome or another realm. Not sure because we're not allowed to go there.
So is there any truth to what I was talking about in the beginning of the show with Hitler? Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, so there's maps of Antarctica without any ice on it from, as little as 100 plus years ago. And Hitler might have been down there, doing, I'm not sure. I know that there's many stories of Hitler going down there and understanding what the world was. That's the first time I've heard that's why they killed him. Again, I don't know that, but yeah, the truth, the secret of our world is in Antarctica. John Kerry on election day went to Antarctica. Very, very strange.
Yeah, it is kind of strange. Jason, what is your thoughts?
If the world is flat, then what does that do for like all the science photographs and satellites and everything they're circling the planet that clearly show that it's round? Like I think it's round. I'm just gonna be straight up honest with you.
I got it. I'm off. By the way, I have a reward for when we're done with this. Anybody that, including audience members, that can give me one proof of the globe, I will give them a Bitcoin, a full Bitcoin.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. So let's talk about you brought up two things, satellites and photos. Well, NASA admits they have no photos of Earth. Okay? And the photos that they admit they have no photographs of Earth. They have all composites. They admit it. You can't find any image of Earth that says photograph, and NASA even says they don't have a full photograph of Earth. But they do have a photograph of Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter, but these photos are provably fake. If you look at the Saturn photo that's in every textbook, if you take it off of NASA's website, put it in Photoshop and crank up the levels, you can see all the different layers that they put together to make this piece of garbage that people think is Saturn. Now, that doesn't mind you. I've looked in a satellite, not a satellite, with a telescope, super zoom camera. I could see Saturn. It looks like a ball, but the ring is lit up just like the ball's lit up. It's a light. I don't know what it is, how far it is, how big it is, or what its purpose is, but it's not what they're telling us. Jupiter. There's the famous photo of Jupiter that everyone's seen. It's the number one photo. I think it was taken in 2014. In 2016, NASA came out and said, "Hey, we took a picture of Jupiter and we could see the northern lights, which proves it has a magnetic pole also." But the northern lights, it's the worst composite photograph I've ever seen. But if you take the 2016 picture and overlay it on the 2014 picture of this gaseous, stormy planet, every single cloud, every single dot is in the exact same place. So what NASA did is they took the original picture, they photographed some northern lights on it, they photoshopped northern lights on it, and they said it's a new picture. What that tells you right there is they're faking pictures of planets. Now, I've also looked at Jupiter. I do see a dot on Jupiter. That doesn't mean it's a giant planet 25 million miles away. It means it's clearly within the Earth system. Nothing's in the solar system. Everything's within the Earth system. The Earth is the basement of the universe. Okay, that's the best words I have for it. And everything we see in the sky is circling around on top of the flat Earth. Satellites. Satellites.
But if space is endless in every direction,
so hold on. Let's do satellites first, right? So satellites, do you know who the largest owner of helium companies and consumer of helium is in the world? NASA. NASA is not a space agency. That's what NASA stands for. Okay. They send up tens of thousands of satellites hanging from balloons. You can look it up. There's plenty of videos. Most of this stuff is being hidden now by Google. It's hard to find the videos, and they've also uploaded so much garbage that you'll just get tired of looking. But I will tell you how to find all of this stuff at some point during this interview.
Well,
So they send up these balloons. That's what satellites are. Now, those things we see in the sky, those lights moving around that they tell us are satellites, those are not satellites. Those are provably not satellites because our eyes could not see them. They're too small for our eyes to see. If you look at the angular resolution limits of your eyes and the inverse square law of light, it's a lot to think about. It's scientifically provable that we can't see it.
Okay. But for like 1500 years ago, the world thought that the earth was flat, but all of a sudden, like for the last 500 years, we've been told that the globe theory, that that the earth is round, and then we got to go into, like you said, outer space. Is it connected to space aliens? I know the Bible speaks of the earth being flat, like a dome above the fixed earth, but
right.
I don't understand.
So you're opening up a lot of questions there, and then we'll come back to aliens, because aliens is very interesting. So wait, the first thing you said is what was the first part of that question?
1500 years ago, the world thought that the earth was flat, and then they changed it.
Do you know anybody from 1500 years ago that can verify that?
No, just Plato and all them guys in the
So again, all of our history is a lie. All of it. It's amazing how much it's a lie. So check us out. The story of Aristophanes is what you're referring to.
Yeah,
Aristophanes was the Greek mathematician that noticed on a certain day of the year the sun shined to the bottom of a well. So he knew that the sun was directly over him. And then 500 miles away, he had somebody that had a stick, that he put a stick vertical, and the stick made a shadow. So Aristophanes has a vertical stick with no shadow, and his buddy 500 miles away has a stick that has a shadow. I don't know how they communicated. Maybe they had a cup and a string or something. But they figured out what the angle was, and they did some math, and they figured out what size the ball was. Within 2% is what they were told. Now, this was pushed into everyone's brains in the 1980s by Carl Sagan in the series Cosmos. Okay? So when you start researching Aristophanes, he's the most famous mathematician in the world, right? He figured out the Earth is a sphere and the size of the earth within 2% of what they think it is today, right? But there was other mathematicians that came out of that area for the centuries following that have written many books, and none of them ever mention Aristophanes. The oldest book we can find with the Aristophanes experiment in it is in the 1980s in a Rockefeller textbook that was inserted into the school system. It's just a lie.
Didn't Tesla say something about it too?
Here's the bigger problem. Is no one's ever redone that experiment, and it doesn't even matter if they did, because on a flat Earth with a small local sun, it works on a flat. You get the same measurements. If you put two like lighters on your table standing upright, and then hold a light, a couple of inches over one of them, and they're like 6 inches apart. The one that you're holding the light over has no shadow, and the one 6 inches to the right will have a shadow. You can do some math and find out the sphericity of your table when in fact it's flat. So it's a faulty experiment anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Weiss, I got a text message, somebody listening to the show, and he has a question. How are you able to fly around the world in an airplane?
Yeah, great question. So the billions with a B people have circumnavigated the Earth. Okay, but as I was telling you before, imagine you got to do a lot of visualization here. We have the world pond is a circular pond. In the center of that pond, you have a magnet. So just get around, draw a circle on a table and put a magnet in the middle. And that circle is all of the world's ponds, right? All the entire world pond. Put a compass down on that table, and the compass will point to the center of the table. And you just try to push that compass going east or west, and it will make a circle around the pond. It'll go in a circle because that needle always has to point to the center. Billions of people have circumnavigated east and west. You can even go from the United States, you can go north, right? And you're heading in a straight line, you're going north, and as soon as you pass the center, You're now heading south, even though you're going in the same direction. And all of a sudden you're in Japan or in Indonesia. Okay, so you can cross over the north that way. So that doesn't prove that the Earth is flat or ball, because you can do it on both circumnavigation, east and west, and crossing over the north. What you can't do on a flat Earth is go south and pop up the other way. You can't go from Santiago, Chile, down on the tip of South America, cross over Antarctica, that short little trip, and end up in Australia. Or you can't go from Johannesburg, South Africa, and pop up over in New Zealand, which should be a fairly short flight going across the bottom of the ball over Antarctica. You can't do it. No one's ever done it. No one's ever done it, except there's been a couple people that have claimed to have done it. But if you look at their paths, they just went to Antarctica and they turned around and came back. They never crossed over, because Antarctica is not an island at the bottom of the ball. Antarctica is the land that surrounds the world pond.
Well, didn't Admiral Burr do that, something like that? And he encountered a battle, and he lost like 60, I don't know how many boats.
So I wasn't there, and it was 1950s. Antarctica is a very cold and treacherous place. But when they were exploring the outer south, he said he found land bigger than the United States that's never been touched by humans, and is filled with resources. And then all of a sudden, he was quiet, and the Antarctic Treaty went into place, and nobody's allowed to go there. So maybe he slipped that out on purpose, by mistake. Not sure.
Yeah, I know that the UN's logo is a flat Earth, isn't it? It's like
it's a flat Earth map, and where's the Antarctica? It's the circle that's going over the feathers that go around it.
But why would they say
why the lie?
Why
the lie?
Yeah, why the lie? If it is flat.
Before I forget, going back to the Aristophanes story. So back in February of 2020, I was interviewing a 102-year-old woman about the World's Fairs, which is a whole nother rabbit hole. And she had such a great memory of when she was a child at 5 years old. She was telling me about her birthday party and everything. And I asked her where she went to elementary school, and she knew the school, the street, the teacher, kids in her class. I mean, I couldn't do that barely, with high school. I guess I could. And I asked her, I said, what did they teach you about the Earth in elementary school? Because we had talked to a woman from Croatia earlier, and she said that they taught flat Earth in all the schools in the 1930s. Well, Ruth was in elementary school in the 1920s, and she looked at me and she goes, they taught me the Earth was flat. But then they changed it a few years later. Okay, and she just thought science was more advanced. And I have a great video, which I'll send you a link to. You got to check it out, of me interviewing her, and it'll bring tears to your eyes, because the truth is amazing. So Ruth has shown, and then we found newspaper articles on microfilm of teachers being persecuted in the early 1900s for trying to insert heliocentrism into the school system. Crazy stuff.
So what is your theory? Why the lie? If it is flat, I mean, you believe it is flat. So why are they lying still if it is flat?
Right. So belief is the enemy of knowing. Belief is easy. Knowing takes time, effort, and critical thought. So the truth is, the heliocentric model basically is based on the Big Bang. It has the story of dinosaurs and asteroids wiping them out. And then, a lightning struck and created DNA, which is impossible. And that DNA turned into a fish that grew legs. They found another fish that grew legs, and they had sex, and they had a monkey that had a deformed baby that was a human, right? And so insanity after insanity. Then they want you to believe that you're spinning, 1,000 miles an hour, orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour, chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour, while the entire solar system is moving sideways or the galaxy is moving sideways at 1 or 2 million miles an hour. They want you to believe that you're spinning out of control, lost in space in a godless or distant god universe where an asteroid could take you out at any time, on a prison, because a ball is a prison, because there's no other place to go, and to keep you in fear and not let you know who you are. So the truth is, who are we? Well, we are at the center of creation. This world is intelligently designed. And once you understand that the world is intelligently designed, then you can no longer deny the existence of God. Okay? Or a God. I'm not saying who God is. I'm just saying when you realize that we're not a random accident, that the world is intelligently designed, you can no longer deny the creator. So why would they do this? Because once you understand who you are, where you are, what you are, you take your power back. You realize nobody has dominion over you, and you stop feeding this satanic spiritual system that we're in. And the people that took over this world in the early 1900s are evil, and they've literally imprisoned us. So the analogy I use, are you guys familiar with the documentary with Keanu Reeves called The Matrix?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the beginning, Neo is depressed. He's something's wrong with the world. He's on the computer. He's trying to figure it out. He's sleeping a lot. Well, that's how a lot of people are now. They're depressed because their conscious mind is separated from their soul's journey. Their soul knows what's going on here. And they're just separated from it. But then you look at the Neo at the end of the movie. He finds out where he is, what he is, how powerful his thoughts are, that he is the manifester of his own world. And that is a great analogy of what Flat Earth does. If everyone woke up to Flat Earth tomorrow, the world would unite. The elite would be dead. They'd be little gnats. We go away, little elite. And then nothing they would say would matter. So, right now, there's some tyranny going on in the world. What if you knew that there was other continents out there in the outer space across the Earth plane? And what if you knew that there was extraterrestrials coming from the extra territory beyond Antarctica? Okay, what if you knew that there was other worlds within our reach today? You can take a conventional airplane there, let alone the secret, electromagnetic, propelled craft that they're hiding from us. So they're controlling.
Does the sun orbit the Earth?
So the sun, again, the sun circles around around the lake. Basically, it goes in a circle and it oscillates in between an inner circle called the Tropic of Cancer, and then it migrates for 6 months outwards past the equator, which is a circle that's halfway between the center and halfway between Antarctica, out to another line on the other side of the equator called the Tropic of Capricorn. So it migrates in and out. So what is the sun? The sun is not a giant burning ball of hydrogen. It's a focused point of energy. Okay, that's the best way I could describe it. And maybe it's God. I don't know. But the sun itself is electric in nature. If you think about it, if you got two houseplants and put one in front of a roaring fire and one in front of a fluorescent light, which one's going to shrivel up and which one's going to grow? All right? The sun is sending electricity down to the earth, right? And we feed on that electricity. Plants grow from that electricity. The earth gets charged. The earth is a giant battery. The sun is the anode and the moon is the cathode of that battery. And the land, the continents are the salt bridge, and the salt water carries the current.
Wow.
It's a lot to think about. It's so much easier to believe in the ball.
Yeah, it is a lot easier to believe in the ball. My only thing is, like, at the edge, when gravity keeps you from falling over the edge, I guess.
So if you're on a lake in Kansas and you sail to the edge of the lake, can you fall off the lake? No, you climb up onto the land, and then you can walk. How far can you walk? Kansas is pretty big. When you get at the end of Kansas, there's more land beyond that. We don't know what's out on the outer lands of Antarctica. There could be other oceans on the other side. There's many stories of other oceans and other continents out there. So gravity, let's talk about gravity. Gravity is just a theory. If you listen to the high priest of scientism, Neil deGrasse Tyson, or Bill Nye, the lion guy with the bow tie, they say they have no idea what gravity is. It's a theory, okay? It's such a theory that they have to make up dark matter and dark energy, which they say accounts for 96% of what gravity is, right? They've never seen it. They can't measure it. They can't see it. They can't test for it. But they say it has to exist because otherwise gravity doesn't work. So they're making it up. It's called pseudoscience. When the truth is, the Earth is measurably, testably has a negative charge to it. It does, you can test it. This isn't, this is science. And that negative charge has a slight attraction to it. It attracts things to it. It's a very weak force, just like they say gravity is a weak force. Okay. So it establishes a down. So down for me in Connecticut is straight down towards the ground. Down for somebody in Australia is the same direction. It's not up. Mm-hmm. It's down. Down is down. So that weak force establishes a down, right? And then buoyancy and density sort everything out. If I had a basketball and a rock and I held it above a swimming pool and I dropped both of them, they would both fall through the air because they're more dense than the air. The basketball would stay on top of the water because it's less dense, and the rock would go to the bottom of the pool because it's more dense. Mm-hmm. Up is up, down is down, the same for everybody. Left and right, forward and backwards are all subjective to which direction you're facing.
I can understand.
Well, the only way I'm going to probably figure it out is when I die and I'm a ghost, okay? I'm going to go to the outer space and I'm going to see. And then I'll come back and then you can give my Bitcoin to Jenny. Okay?
Hey, Pat.
So if the Earth is a ball, it has curvature. And that curvature formula is easy. And at 6 feet, at 6 miles, at 3 miles, there should be a 6-foot drop. So that means a 6 foot tall person standing next to the edge of calm water, because large bodies of water at rest lay flat, measurably, testably, provably, and you shouldn't be able to see any water surface beyond that physical edge. But we can see things much farther than that. At a camera 1 foot off the ground should only be able to see 1.2 miles before the water drops behind a little bit of a curve. But we can see, oil rigs that are 10, 15, 20 miles away. We can see the water for tens of miles beyond them when we zoom in with today's super zoom cameras. And we can see the water. We can see land. We can see mountaintops that should be they should be a mile below the curvature. But not only can we see the mountaintop, we can see the entire mountain.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there is no curvature.
Jason?
Desperate as failed.
Any thoughts?
Well, Pat was talking about, when he dies, becoming a ghost, flying out to the sun and stuff. I just wanted to tell him if the sun's actually electric, to make sure he takes a piece of carpet so when it sends off a static charge, it obliterates the universe.
There you go.
Oh, wow. And you guys got any final thoughts?
I was just curious.
I'm good.
Let me tell you where you can get this information. If you Google flat Earth, you're going to end up at the Flat Earth Society. You're going to say top 10 reasons the Earth is a ball, and you're going to get the same articles and videos from mainstream that are all just to gatekeep your mind. Mm-hmm. Boats over the horizon, sunsets, seasons, all of that stuff. I created an app that is amazing. It's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. It's for Android phones that are 8.0 operating system or higher, or Apple, which is the iPhone 6 or better.
What is it called?
Okay, it's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. If you just put in Flat Earth Clock, it'll come up, and it's by Blue Water Bay. There is a knockoff of it done by some globe trolls trying to gatekeep your mind on Android. So and it's free. So if you get that one, don't send me an email. Tell me my app sucks because it's not my app.
The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac.
Yeah, Flat Earth Sun. It's $2.99, and what it does, I say take the Flat Earth app challenge every day. It'll show you how the sun works, how the moon works. You can see that the sun goes around once a day, keeping track of the hours and the days. It laps the moon once every 28 days. So the moon and its position and phases keep track of the weeks and the months.
Awesome.
And then the stars go around and lap the sun once a year. So they keep track of the seasons and the years. But every day there's a new video that pops up. Short ones during the week, longer ones on the weekend. Okay. And I say, watch those videos every day for 2 weeks. And then you too will know that the Earth is not a spinning ball. But if you think you have a proof, you can send it to me for that Bitcoin. Right, and I'll refund your $2.99.
Wow.
But before you do it, you have to hit the question mark, and up comes another page that has the top 21 questions that
Okay.
you'll have. And there's all the videos that YouTube is hiding from you that are in there.
Well, thank you so much for all this
you
information and joining us tonight. We're going to have to say goodnight.
right.
Thank you, David.
David, thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you.
And I will
right.
post your website on our page for you. Okay?
Got it. Thanks.
You have a great night.
Right,
Wow.
bye-bye.
Guys, that was pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah, definitely was. I just
You're skeptical.
I'm not even skeptical. Like I don't believe in flat Earth at all. I liked his information; it was really good, but I just can't see. I don't know.
It's a lot to take in. I can understand that.
Yeah.
A lot to take in.
We
So,
had a good investigation last Saturday.
yeah, I want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
go ahead, Jay. You can do this one.
So last Saturday we had an investigation locally. We won't use the exact location or anything to protect the privacy of the homeowner, but her name was Shannon. We were allowed to use that, her first name. So she contacted us with some videos of activity that was going on outside behind her house. Some shadows. Even during the day, it was like, wow, this is really cool. And she's like, can you guys come out? I'm going to make sure it's nothing bad. So we go out. It was me, Sean, and Roy, another team member. And, we go into the kitchen. We talk to her a little bit, have some coffee. And then we go outside and start checking everything out, and, outside, we got a couple orbs, nothing too crazy. It wasn't feeling bad, no negative feelings or anything. So, after a little while, we're like, okay, there's not much going on out here. Let's go back in, talk to her a little bit. And we wanted to check out, an abandoned mansion that was nearby. So we go in the house and, we're just chit-chatting. Well, we went up into the living room and Roy and Sean sat down and we're talking to Shannon. I was just kind of walking around with my K2, just checking things out. Well, when I went to the corner of the living room where the stairs to go upstairs to the second floor, there was just this weird energy. It just hit me. And I was like, okay, before I say anything, I'm going to take a few steps. So I took about, 5 or 6 steps away from the area and the feeling went away. So I walked right back into it and it just hit me like a ton of bricks again. So I was like, hey, Roy, Sean, something's going on around these stairs, and that's when we started really digging in and getting information from Shannon that her son's room was upstairs as well as her one daughter's room. And her one daughter doesn't like to stay up there. And she said that her son, he's 10 years old, is like really confined to his room, but having these weird, strange bouts of rage and just anger. She's like, I don't understand. It's just coming from nowhere. So we're like, okay, we got to check this out. So we go upstairs, check out her daughter's room. It's perfectly fine. No feelings or anything like that. As soon as we went into her son's room, all three of us, it about took our breath away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the energy was in there. It was really cold too. Like
terrible.
It was oddly cold.
Yeah.
So long story short, basically what it was is there's an abandoned mansion from the 1800s across the street, essentially, and her son happened to be like almost like a channeler. Like they were coming, the spirits were feasting off of this kid's energy, and it was just taking all the positive and just filling him with the negative, and that was an explanation for that. So what we did was, we took a bunch of pictures. I think we had like 300 pictures, some videos, and there was a couple things and a couple photos. But Sean cleansed the house and everything, and we talked to Shannon a little bit about some precautionary measures to take. And, this should help rectify a situation. And I think Sean, you talked to her the other day, and she said that like her son's been in a great mood. Like everything's just so much better, uplifting. It's warm in there. It's not cold anymore. Like
I got a nice message from her saying that her house feels like it was when they first moved in. But like Jason was saying, that mansion across the street, man, that's kind of creepy, man. And I do believe, in fact, I know that the majority of the ghosts that went into the son's room were from that mansion, because we got a couple pictures.
Is it from the Clark
if
mansion?
You look at the pictures.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. 'Cause
And if you look at some of those pictures, you can actually see a face. We're going to have to send them to you, Jen. But they look like a guy back in that time era when it was going.
Oh, wow. I have to see that.
Let's see. Yeah.
I
But
definitely.
Shannon is all happy about it, and everything is going
Everything's
okay.
fine since you guys left.
yes,
That's
as of
Yeah.
currently. So now that brings us to the
She
next one.
did,
Oh, go ahead, Sean.
she did send me a video 2 days ago, and there was just like that big red ball that I showed, that she showed us at the beginning how we got out there, and I believe that whatever was in her backyard, Jason, was just a residual because it just kept going the same way all the time.
Yeah.
Because I look back at the videos that she sent before, and it's the same thing. So I believe it's residual.
Wow. That's
Yeah, the stuff
spooky.
inside was definitely just channeling in there. That was like a whole different ball game once we got to the bottom of a couple things. But we
Yes.
do have some more investigations coming up. We have one coming up this Saturday. It's a private investigation. A couple reached out to us because they're having spirits so extreme that they're getting attacked physically, and
Oh,
it's leaving
Jesus.
bruises and scratches. So we're going to do our best to help them out. Next weekend, we're heading back to the Blair House for round 2. So hopefully we could maybe post some live footage from that. See what's going on this time around. And we have a lineup change. A couple different members are coming out that haven't been there. So next weekend will be exciting.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to keep up with everybody that's getting in contact with us with their concerns and stuff that's going on.
Sounds like you guys are really being contacted for these investigations. Seems like you've been busy one every week.
Yeah,
Yes.
we've been getting messages literally on the daily. People sending videos like, "Hey,
Gosh, that's awesome.
this is going on. What do you think about this?" And then we'll take those and we'll review them. We'll have 3 or 4 of us, veteran investigators, kind of look them over, see what we think, and then get back to the person. But doing that though too is kind of difficult because we weren't there physically. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard, to we might be able to debunk this or prove that, or you know what I mean? So we do the best we can unless we're there for an actual investigation to get to the bottom of whatever's going on.
Well, this one that you have coming up, I know we have to leave soon, but this one coming up that you think might be demonic, how are you going to protect yourself?
There.
What's
I'm
that?
there, Jenny. I'm there. I won't let nobody.
But still, I mean, do you do
If
some
you
kind of a
think
prayer?
enough, I
Do you
won't
do
let
some?
it happen.
Well, do you do
Sean's
a prayer?
the
Do
only-
you bring the crucifix with you? You bring holy water? What do you
Nope.
do? No.
I think we all,
No.
each member has their own thing. Like I personally, I'll say a couple prayers to myself, just as an extra precaution on my end. That's just what I believe in, so, it's pretty much
you got to do what you have to do to protect yourself.
Well, see, to me, what I believe in, if I brought holy water, if I brought a cross, sure, the spirit will go. But after we leave, and a couple days later, it will
might
come
come back.
with a vengeance on
Yeah.
people.
Well, we're coming we're coming to the witching hour, guys.
Uh-oh.
So next week we have a fella that believes he was abducted. He wrote a couple books on it. His name is Thomas Perrett, I think. So, we're coming to the witching hour. I don't want to get in trouble. But I want to thank everybody for listening, and we'll see you next week. Make sure you like us on Facebook, Instagram. We have our website, chasingprophecyradio.com. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We also are on Patreon now, guys. I just want to let you know, I didn't send you the link, but we are on there now. Any donations can help Jason and Sean with their investigations for equipment, travel. So good night, everyone, and thank you again for tuning in to Chasing Prophecy. We really enjoyed you guys listening.
Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Good night.